Well, I'm talking with Michael Josem here, who's looking to rent out his property, and obviously there's money to be made in that with obviously TT, but you've also looked at Airbnb, I think, and there's other now apps available. But there's been a sort of problem, I hear, to get this forwarded, actioned upon here in the Isle of Man. What is the problem?
Sure. So over the last year, the government figures reveal that tourist numbers to the Isle of Man have fallen significantly. And one of the real burdens for anyone who wants to provide an innovative or interesting and modern accommodation service is a huge layer of government bureaucracy and red tape.
What bureaucracy can there be in Airbnb? Is that one you're using? I mean, there's others.
Yeah. So in 2018, different people who want to visit and see the world and see our island use many different ways. And so one of the common platforms to do that it's called Airbnb. And if you as a Manx resident or a Manx homeowner want to rent out your house on the Isle of Man, you need to get not one but two government inspectors to come around to your house. They inspect it. It's a hassle to go and to meet all their paperwork forms and fill out. They have literally dozens of pages of guidance on this, and so they have all sorts of quite old-fashioned requirements. So you have to have a TV, you have to have a microwave, and so on, and all these burdens that sure they're fine for most people. But every little straw on that camel's back makes it harder and harder. And so then you need to arrange for two government inspectors to come along and view your house. And don't get me wrong, those people as individuals are great. They're the most wonderful government inspectors in the world.
Are the charges involved then?
Yeah, so not only do you have to be inspected by the government for a service that I don't want in the first place, but then they charge you additional for the privilege.
Okay, you can see where it comes from, because obviously there's got to be a certain standard. I mean, in the UK, how does it work with Airbnb? They don't have government officials going around. Do they have their own people going around?
No, and so if I rent out my place to another adult, to a visitor here, then that's a transaction should be entirely between me and the visitor. And so the correct remedy for that, if they have a bad experience, fortunately they've not so far. But if they do, then that's between me and them, and that it doesn't require government inspection to do so.
Where did government inspectors get involved in this then? It was just that's part of the process. On the side it says you've got to get inspected.
So the government law requires you to do so. Last year, the minister responsible sent out a series of announcements. They threatened fines of penalising Manx residents who are trying to encourage tourism with fines of up to £5,000, I think it is, and it's really quite an onerous process. When really, this should be about me and any potential visitors.
So the Isle of Man's making it harder. There's hurdles here that there aren't elsewhere.
Of course not, no. And so the people on the other island, across in England, seem to be able to manage just fine. And I think that if we reduce this regulatory burden, Manx people will be better off, because it's both irrational in that it's harming our economy, but it's also immoral in that the people who I invite into my own home is a matter for me. It's none of the government's business.
I suppose there's a protectionism going on here slightly with the small bed and breakfast places. Is that, do you think, where it's coming from, to try and protect the local market? Because I mean, it could change everything, just like Uber's changed everything for taxi drivers in the UK. Is that what the worry is? Do you think, getting that feeling?
So what if that's true? And I have no evidence that is true. And I suspect that the hoteliers and the restaurants would benefit from more new and innovative, accommodation options. But even if that's true, that still doesn't undermine the underlying point that if someone stays in my house, it's between me and them. The hotel down the road has no say in that. Yeah. In the same sense of, it was unfortunate for Kodak, the camera business, that digital cameras came along, but that doesn't mean they have a right to stop people from buying digital cameras.
So these certificates, what do they say? And what do you get for it? Just a sort of, you can give permission to rent your place out.
And so I went through this process. I did the right thing. But it still is a hassle.
It costs
£50 a year, and then you got the time of your day. You've got to go have the government inspectors over. You need to, fill out all the paperwork. It's just a hassle that isn't needed. And so, as a result of that, it took me a few months extra before I was able to get my situation arranged.
Of course, TT is the big thing. Homestay, government run. Well, they run it through a third party, admittedly. But do you think again that's something that they're trying to stop people going direct? They want to get through them?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And so the result of that is that we have a downfall in tourism numbers, as the government's own figures reveal. And so again, these rules are irrational in that they're harming those options, they're harming Manx residents, they're harming Manx homeowners, and they're harming Manx businesses. And they're also immoral, because the government should have no say in who stays in my house.
So you'd have it completely open like in the UK. People then rate you, don't they? And that's how it works. So if it's not a good accommodation, the feedback's bad.
Course, yes.
And just leave it down to the supply and demand.
Yeah, exactly. I think it should be entirely about consenting adults spending their money and controlling their lives as they wish. In that if I go to a local business and I don't like the service that they provide, then the correct remedy for that is a crappy review on TripAdvisor. If I don't like the haircut at the hairdresser, well, I don't go back to the hairdresser. I tell my mates about it, their business fails. And the same thing here, in that a lot of these modern new tech platforms have much better reviews and much more interactive information for potential guests, so they understand what they're getting into, compared to the old, government-run homestay. You wouldn't stay at a government-run restaurant, would you? Like, why would you run it as?
So you're asking for change of law?
Yeah, so what the best opportunity, this is a really good opportunity for the Isle of Man government to show that they're not interested in riding on the backs of their residents, but rather walking by their side. And this is a simple government regulation opportunity to cut the red tape, to open up, show that the Isle of Man is open for business, show that the Isle of Man is open for tourism, and it doesn't even cost the government anything to do this. Let's just rescind these laws and let Manx residents go upon providing good tourist service to visitors.